Thank you for coming to our sermon program. And this time we will talk about reasons why the Buddha taught us his teachings and practice. Well, he didn't need to. When he got the final salvation, he didn't need to tell anybody about it, and he simply enjoyed his final salvation. And in fact, he was planning to die after the final salvation because he made it. So long time ago, at the time particularly, when a person achieved the final salvation, the person didn't need to do anything except for just dying in peace, dying in happiness of the achievement of the final salvation. So Buddha tried to do the same thing, but fortunately, he actually left us his teachings and practice so that we can learn, we can apply in our everyday life to achieve our final salvation. Okay? Now, let's see Buddha's word. For 28 days, I was asking myself if it would be a good idea to share my experience with others. I hesitated to share because I thought no one would listen to me or try to understand my ideas. I also knew that nobody could attain final salvation by simply listening to my teaching. You see his concerns. First of all, he knew that the truth is the nothingness or nirvana. The truth could not be explained even visually or in detail to anybody else. So it's kind of useless for him to teach such things because no one will understand it. No one will try to understand it. That was his concern. But also he was concerned that if somebody learned his teaching and practice, and if that person felt like, the person already achieved the final salvation, he didn't like it because that's not true. Some people just listen to the good teaching and feel like, oh yeah, I got enlightened, and stop practicing. Stop practicing to actually achieve the real final salvation. So the Buddha didn't want to confuse anybody like this. He was a nice person. So this is realism. He thinks no one could understand, and he didn't want to confuse anybody else. And also he knew that each one of us must achieve own final salvation. This is the only way. The self-reliance is the only condition and the definite condition to achieve the final salvation. No one will save anybody. You save yourself. He was so realistic because achieving the final salvation is realism. We are not living in the philosophy at this moment. We are actually talking about how practically we can achieve the final salvation. We are talking about realism. So he didn't want to share anything. It's not because he was selfish, but he had so many concerns like we explained here. Okay? Well, not only that, I think the final concern for him was if somebody listened to his teaching and practice, and the person might, create the illusion of the Buddha's teaching and practice, which is make it fancy or make it more like a spiritually materialistic, or the person may start worshipping the Buddha. See, kind of like misleading his teaching and practice. He's just afraid of such spiritual materialism. So instead of just creating opportunity to make his teaching and practice more like a spiritually materialistic, he rather said, no, I'm not saying anything. The Buddha was concerned everything, but he decided to teach the person. And what kind of person he chose as audiences? We will explain this one on the next sermon. But please remember why he didn't, want to teach his, ideas and practice immediately after he achieved the final salvation. He struggled, and he almost decided not to share with us. And there were so many reasons for not sharing his idea with anybody else. And if you understand these elements, you actually understand some contemporary issues in the current Buddhism. That's why, you have to go back to original teachings, because original teachings are pure, without spiritual materialism. This is something you are trying to learn together. Now, if you have questions, please let me know by email. I will answer to you directly. Thank you for listening. May the Buddha be with us all.